Hi guys, welcome to session number 6 of Marketing 101. And in today's lecture, we will continue with the topic of marketing environment. As the last session, we have covered what is marketing environment is and what is environmental scanning. And in today's topic, we will continue that marketing environment only. Now, before we start the topic of today, let us discuss what we have covered in the last few sessions of the marketing. My name is Ankit, and in this video lecture, we are going to cover the topic of marketing. So let's start. So in previous lecture, specifically in our last two sessions, we have covered what marketing environment is. Now this is a system of the surroundings of a business which influence its decision making process. So when we talk about marketing environment, these are the forces which are affecting the decision making of an organization. Now these decisions can be based on the product design. These decisions can be based on the marketing strategy and the policies which are followed by the business. Now, for any business to be a successful venture, they have to be aware of these marketing environment. These marketing environment can be internal to the business, that is within its control, or outside the business, that is external forces, and they are outside the control of the business. Now, for a business to be successful, we have to be aware of these marketing environments. If we fail to adapt to these changes, if we fail to know what kind of changes are going to be in this environment, what are the forces which are affecting our business, will compel us to do. If we fail to adapt to these changes, then obviously we won't be able to survive in the market for long. Our successful marketing depends upon understanding and responding to these environment, because these environment, they are more likely to affect the needs of a customer. And this is what we have been studying in the entire session of Marketing 101, that now marketing is all about what customer wants, what are the needs of the customer. And by studying these environmental forces, business can be better prepared and adjust to the needs of the customer, and vis-a-vis they can successfully thrive in the competitive environment. So in today's lecture, we are going to study the micro and the micro environment which affect the decision making process of a business. Now, when we talk about micro environment are generally the external forces. They are not internal to the organization. They are not within the organization. They are outside the organization. And because they're outside the organization, they are beyond the control of a firm's management. So these factors, micro environment factors, they affect the society in a larger sense. And they are not the concern of my immediate environment. They affect the decision making of the firm, but they do not directly impact the market. So if we will go one by one to this micro environment, then the picture will be much more clear. So let's start with the demographic forces. Now let us understand what demography is all about. Now when you study the human population by factors like the size of the population or the density of the population, their location, their age, gender, race, literacy or occupation, when you study the human population which is surrounding your business or the population which is there in your immediate environment, when you study this population on the basis of several factors, this is called a demography of your population. Now, why demography is important? Because your consumer comes out of this demography. I'll give you a very simple example. Suppose the population which you caters to, that consists more of a young age generation, or let's say the population of newborn babies are more in your population. Then what you're going to do? Obviously, there is going to be a greater market for toys. There are going to be greater market for children accessories. If your population is consist more of the young age population, then demand for education will be more. Demand for stationery product will be more. As you go on along the age scale, the demand which is coming from the market will be different. So to understand the demography is the first and foremost thing for a business to do. And this thing has to be done even before the business comes into existence. Because you have to build a business profile, you have to build a product profile. And that product profile, what kind of product you are going to sell or what kind of product is going to be successful in that market, that more or less comes from the demography of that environment. Then you have then you have political and legal forces. Let's cover political and legal forces first. Now, when we talk about political and legal forces, as you understand, in most countries, the structure is first there is a central government or the union government, then there are the state governments, and in, for example, India, we have a local government also. So every government has its own rules and regulation according to which a business has to function. If a business does not function according to these laws, then obviously there are going to be some consequences for that business. So it is important to run a successful business. It is important for a successful business to know the political and legal forces which are affecting that business. You cannot do anything which is beyond that legal forces, which is beyond the rules and regulations set by the government agencies. You have to work within that constitutional framework to be run without any government intervention, because no business can thrive with a lot of government intervention. So, for example, there are political institutions like government, then we have central government and state government and local government. These are bound to make some laws and rules and regulations which you have to follow. Mostly these rules and regulations are made for the benefit of the society. So if government brings any policy, then you should be aware, as a business you should be aware of those policies. Then you have economic forces. Now, why economic forces are important? First of all, let us understand what economic forces are. For example, there is inflation and then there is recession in the market. Now, usually what happens, according to the economic conditions of your country, the people, they shape their buying decisions. So, for example, if people have a lot of money, that is, there is a lot of there is huge employment in your country, that is, the unemployment rate is very low. People have good feeling about the economy, that is, they have a positive feeling about the economy, then they are bound to spend more. In that case, your business will be a successful one, and then you can sell even the luxurious item. But let us take an opposite example. Suppose your country is running from a recession. In that case, the purchasing power of the individual's money, that purchasing power is wiped out. In that case, that individual will definitely cut down on the leisure expenses and they will concentrate more and more on the necessities. So in that case, your business product has to shift accordingly. Economic forces includes items like the tax rate, the taxation policies, then the exchange rate, that is the conversion rate of your currency with that of a foreign one. Then you have industrial policies. All these factors, they have a huge impact on the business decision making. And specifically because economic conditions of a country largely affect the consumer behavior. And your product should always be built around the consumer needs and want. That is what we have studied till now in the marketing process. Then you have natural and physical forces. Again, these forces are of macro nature. Why? Because you cannot control the natural profile of your country. You cannot, by magic, build reserves of oil in your country. If they are there, they are there. If they are not, then you are bound to get it from the other nation. So when it comes to the natural and physical resources, a business, when they are developing a business plan, they will have to consider what kind of natural and physical resources are available in their country and how they are going to use them. Because when a business is run, we know that pollution, which is emitted by the business organization, is a very big concern. And now people are getting more and more concerned about their environmental conditions. So in that case, business have to accordingly fit that requirement of the society. Because now if your business is, let's say, spreading water pollution or land pollution, then you know there will be a backlash from the society as well as from the government. So as a good business practice, what could be the things which you can do? So for example, when you are preparing your business plan, in that case, you should adopt proper resources to control the wastage produced by your country, wastage produced by your organization. What else? When you are designing a product, you should always be more and more focused on how you can build that product in a more sustainable manner. How can you follow those environmental laws to reduce the pollutions which are caused by your organization? And also, if there are any concern raised by the environmental group or the society against your organization, then as a good organization, it should be your responsibility to address those concerns. Then you have technological forces. Now, when we talk about technological forces, this macroeconomic factor, it is the most rapidly changing factor when we talk about the macro environment. Now, what are technology? Technology are basically the new methods of production or any new internet technology. For example, we have 4G, then we have 5G, now we are working on 6G. These are technological forces. Now, these forces, they can also impact you positively. That is, they can bring in new production processes which are most cost effective, which can increase your productivity to a larger scale. But these technical forces may also have a negative side. For example, when you bring in new technology, it is bound to happen that more and more jobs will become redundant because now those jobs are done more productively by a machine. So job loss because of the increasing technological advancement is a greater concern. Now what happens is when there is a lot amount of job losses, then the unemployment rate increases. Now, if the unemployment rate increases, the demand for your product is going down because the income of people are going down because they are going unemployed. So in that case, this technological forces, it is like a double-edged sword. So the impact of new information technology, which is going to be on an organization, whether positive or negative, that has to be studied. You cannot control this. You cannot say that, okay, I will not accept this technology. You will have to accept it because your competitors are accepting it. If your competitor accepting it, they are producing the same goods at a cheaper level. So you will have to accept it. But how can you adopt to these technological forces with minimum negative impact and maximum positive impact? That is depending upon the organization. So they have to study these technological forces more deeply. Then you have the social culture forces. Now, when we talk about the social culture forces, these are basically the characteristics of the individuals of a country. These are the cultures, which are the practices which are followed by the citizens of a country. Now, for example, a group of people who believe that nature should not be harmed, and if you are catering to those people, then accordingly you will have to shape your product in such a manner which affirms to their social culture being. You have to respect, as an organization, you will have to respect the value system of that population. Otherwise, that population will reject your product and will move on to the competitors. So a society definitely impacts the acceptance of a society is needed for a business to be successful. To create a positive image of the organization in the eyes of the public, it is important that you accept the cultures which are followed by the population, or definitely the culture which is followed by your customers. After the macroeconomic factors, we have what we call the microeconomic factors or the micro environment. I'm sorry, I'm again and again repeating the economics, but micro environment. Now, micro environment can be defined as the factors. Now, because these are of micro nature, they micro means they are very closer to whom? They are very close to you. So, because they are close to you, they can be internal and they can be external as well. The internal factors, they are generally under the control of the firm. This is what we have studied in our past session also, and they're easier to coordinate. But when we talk about micro environment in external forces, in that case, they are beyond the control of a organization. In that case, you will have to study them properly to adopt to them. So first and foremost, we have the suppliers. Now, who are suppliers? These are basically the people who are supplying you raw materials, the people from whom you source your product so that you can manufacture your own product. So these are the businesses, firms, individuals who provide you raw material, component, or semi-finished goods, which you use in your own production process. Now, if you have a good relationship with your supplier, what will happen? They will provide you a good quality of raw material. They will provide you raw material in a timely manner. And if you do not have a good relationship with your supplier, then what will happen? If there is a continuous conflict between your organization and your supplier's organization, then obviously the supply of raw material will be hampered. Sometimes the quality of the raw material is also hampered. Sometimes your supplier ditches you and go to your competitor, and they start selling to your competitor even at a cheaper price. So having a good relationship with the supplier is very important. So you have to understand what are the needs of the supplier as well. Any potential area of conflict should not be allowed to fester. They should be handled before they become a major concern. Then you have the customers. I think the customer needs the minimum explanation because the people from whom you are earning your profit, the needs of those customers have to be paramount. Therefore, the whole concept of marketing revolves around the fact that you have to understand your customer. You need to know the profile of your customer. You need to build a product around the needs and wants of a customer because these are the people who are buying the goods from you. These are the people from whom you are getting your profit. Now, these customers can be people to whom you are selling directly, or these are the people who buys from you and then they resell it at a profit. Now, customer could be anyone. It could be an end customer. It could be a mediator customer. But for an organization, customer is anyone to whom the organization sells the goods and they earn the profit. Now, this customer varies according to the market. So, if you are selling to the end customer, that then they become the consumer, final consumer, and they make the consumer market. Then you have industrial market or the producer market. Now, this is the market where such consumers are present, which buys goods from you in order to create their own product. Then you have the reseller market. This market is generally for those customers who buy the goods from you and they sell it as it is to the next party at a profit. Then you have government and non-profit. Just like the household and just like the farms, the government is also a customer. The people who are running a non-profit, an organization whose concern is to serve a social welfare and not to make profit, those are called non-profit organizations. These people are also a customer for our organization to cater to the need of our government and to the NPOs. It is also a very important part for the organization. And then finally, you have the international market. That is the market which is beyond the geographical territory of your country. They have their own needs. Those customers have their own needs. Those customers have their own requirement. So you cannot have the same marketing for people who are within your domestic territory and the people who are out, or the customers who are outside your geographical territory. Then you have marketing intermediaries. Now, marketing intermediaries are, you can call, they are the middlemen. Middlemen in the sense that they create a link between the organization and the final consumer. So you know very well what is a wholesaler and what is a retailer. They are technically a distribution chain which supply the goods from the manufacturer's end to the end consumer end. Then similarly you have agent. Now agent, they do not buy the goods from the consumer, but they create a space where the producer can directly sell the goods to the customer. Now both these intermediaries, that is the wholesalers, retailers and the agent, they are very important because these are the people who are linking you to your customers. Now, if you are not able to understand the need of this individuals or this organization, because they are directly helping you, they are directly helping you to transport your goods from your factory gate to the customer's house. In order to run a successful business, you should have a good relationship with the marketing intermediaries. And then you have the competitors. Now, competitors, on the one hand, they are your rival business. Obviously, the people with whom you are competing for the market share, they are your quote unquote the competitors. Now, but the competitors can also be a great learning curve for your organization. If you continuously study the strategies of the competitor, if you continuously study the product of your competitors, their pricing of the competitors, then it will also help your business organization to run a good marketing campaign. You cannot leave a market space for the competitor without a fight. That is the idea, to understand the competition. Now, competitors are of a different level. So they can be competitors for the same category of product. So for example, Coca-Cola and Pepsi. These two are competitors for the like items or the items for which have similar nature or similar product. Then you have competitors for a substitute item. So for example, tea and coffee. So these two are competitors who are competing, but their goods are not completely like each other. They are different in certain respect. One is the substitute of the other. And then there is a competition in the entire market, which are can be defined as people of all categories of business. They are competing together for a market. So competitors is also not a monolith. There is a competition for your similar product, then there is a competition for substitute product, and then there is an overall competition. For example, to get finance from the bank. Now, money with the bank is in a limited capacity. So when you go to a bank to apply for a loan, you are technically competing with other business. Now, it does not matter what kind of product are being served by that business, but you both are competing for the same amount of resource. And then finally, you have the public. Now, public can be defined as a group of individuals who directly or indirectly affect a business. If your business has a good public image, that public image is that same public. If your business has a good public image, in that case, your product will automatically be in the good eyes of the public, and the same public will advertise for you, which is called word of mouth. Then there will be a positive word of mouth for your product. But imagine if your business does not have a good public image, then the same people will turn against your product, and in that case, there will be a negative word of mouth. So when we talk about public can contribute to your marketing program through positive word of mouth or through negative word of mouth. So in your case, in case of the organization, when it comes to the marketing strategies, you should be able to create, or you should focus to create a good public image so that you get the benefit of positive word of mouth. Now, Kotler and Armstrong, they define the public into a lot of categories. So first and foremost, you have financial public. Now, what is the financial public? These are that group of individuals who help you to raise finance. So you have banks, you have financial institutes. Then you have media public. Media public is the technically that part of public, or that group of individuals from the public who carry the news for you. So they will carry the articles for your product, they will carry the review of your products. These reviews are carried in newspapers, in magazines. They can write editorial opinion on your product or your company, or they can give a profile of your company to the public at large. Then you have government public. Government public is basically the government structure in your surroundings, or of your local area, or your state level, or at the national level. Now, for a government public, what is important? That you follow the rules and regulations set by the government. As a business, your goal should be to take care that government public, that is the government, should not be concerned about your business practices. Then there is citizen action public. These are the public which is generally an activist type of public. These are consumer organization or environmental group or minority group. Any product which harms this type of public will definitely going to spread a negative word of mouth about your product. Then you have local public. Now, local public, you can technically say the surroundings of the organization, which are the immediate surrounding. So it can be your local neighborhood, or it can be the community organization within your or surrounding your organization. Now, as a business organization, your goal that the practices which you follow should not affect the local public, because then that local public will become hostile towards your organization, and they might protest against your organization, or they might carry out any damaging prospect to the business. Then you have general public. Now, general public is a larger part of your local public. Now, this is not within your immediate local, but general public is the overall people of the area which you are serving. So it can be, for example, general public in terms of an Indian company could be the Indian people, the people who are residing in India. That could be a general public for an Indian company. Now, for them also public image matters. So a good public image will compel the people to buy your product, and they will help you to create a good relationship with these people. So a public image is very important for the general public. If general public feels that your company does not have a good public image, if they feel that your company is involved in bad practices, whether they know about it or not, what is the perception in their mind? See, local public will know, because local public is in direct contact with you, because they are within your vicinity. But general public usually believe in the word of mouth, and they are the same people who spread word of mouth. So for them, public image is important. And then you have internal public. Now, internal public is generally the people who are within the organization. So, for example, the employees, the board, the shareholders of a company, they are the internal public. Now, these public are more or less interested in how a business is being run. So, a internal public is much more concerned about the profit aspect. Obviously, this internal public comes from the general public, so there might be some concern about the sustainability also. But internal public is more or less interested about how our organization is being run, whether it is being run in a profitable manner or not. The idea behind distributing the public into this 7 aspect is to understand that even that public part, the public is not monolith. Every public, be it financial public, media public, government, citizen action, local, journal, or internal, they all have their own standard loci. They all look at an organization from a different lens. So for an organization, when it comes to public, they will have to follow different kinds of strategies to make them rest assured that yes, our product caters to your need. And this part covers our macro and micro environment. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And if you guys are interested in learning macroeconomics, then I have a separate playlist for that, and you can go there and watch it. Thank you so much for watching.